counselor at the University of Oregon. I also am an alum, so I graduated in 2019. I pursued 2 degrees. I did one in business administration with a concentration in marketing. I also did another one in art and tech, and if you're not familiar with that, it's more of graphic design, animation, and even in some of my classes, I made some of my own video games, which is pretty cool. But that's just a little about myself. I'm also a fellow Oregonian, so I grew up in Southern Oregon, and I just wanted to give you a sense of who I am and who's going to be presenting to you today. Like I said, it's going to be around a 20-minute presentation. I do want it to be, as engaging as possible. Obviously, it's not going to be fully engaging as if I was there in person, but I do want to, ask you some questions and definitely tailor the information to mostly what you are going to be interested in. I do want to kind of kick things off in the sense that I want to do a land acknowledgement. We are located, in Eugene, Oregon. You all are probably familiar with that, and this is Kalapuya. This is the traditional homeland of the Kalapuya people. So following the treaties between 1851 and 1855, Kalapuya people were actually dispossessed of their indigenous homeland, and they were actually forced to move over to the coastal reservations in Western Oregon. Today, their descendants come from the Confederated Tribes of the Grand Ronde community, as well as the Confederated Tribes of the Siletz Indians. And before any campus tour, before kind of any campus event, we wanted to just do this land acknowledgement and honor their contributions they have not only made to the state of Oregon, but to our community and the university. So I am fully aware that you all are, familiar with the geography of Oregon, but I definitely wanted to give you some of the highlights of, we're about an hour away from the Pacific Ocean, hour away from the Cascade Mountains. We're right in the middle of the Willamette Valley, and it's just an awesome opportunity for, students to go explore with other students. Maybe students, your friends who you meet during your time have never been to the state of Oregon, and so I just give you kind of a geography lesson of the day, and I'm all aware that you are probably familiar where we are at. But if you haven't made yourself, or if you haven't gotten up to our campus yet, this is what it looks like. You all are familiar with the landscape of Oregon, so we're very green. You're used to the weather, but we are a very accessible and easily navigatable campus. So 295 acres, you can get from one side of campus to the other in about 10 to 15 minutes. Like I said, it's very easy to navigate and it's accessible to most students. But I just wanted to give you the most up-to-date, look of what our campus is. You can see in the right-hand middle quadrant, the new Hayward Field. So this is definitely the most up-to-date photo that you could possibly find of our university. So to give you a sense of the university, I definitely wanted to give you an overview of our student population. So we have a student population of about 23,000 students, and of those, a little less than 19,000 are undergraduate population. So we're really heavily focused in that undergraduate experience. We have students coming from all 50 states as well as about 100 different countries. So, when you are in your classrooms, when you are in your clubs and organizations, you'll be meeting students all across the world. It is a 50-50 split, meaning 50% of students are coming from the state of Oregon, but that means the other half is coming from all across the world. So all other 49 states, as well as about 100 different countries. And this is a great learning opportunity that we give our students, is most likely the person who you're going to be sitting next to in a classroom, or who you meet at a club organization is probably going to be somebody who comes from the different parts of the US or the world, which is definitely a great opportunity for students to learn. Our average class size is 36 and our median class size is 20. And so we are a middle to large size university. However, we do have, the class sizes for a small institution. So if you line up all of the different class sizes that we have at the UO, right in the middle is, that 20 mark. So most of our classes are around there, but I do want to not mislead you. We do have bigger lecture classes that can range up to about 520, but only 8% of our classes are above 100 students. I do want to let you know that we are a member of the Association of American Universities, or the AAU. And if you're not familiar with this association, it's not the basketball AAU. This is where we do undergraduate and interdisciplinary research all across campus. So, students all across campus in every single discipline have the opportunity to work work independently, or work with a faculty member who receives grants and funds to perform this research at the U of O. And actually, 3/4 of our population actually does participate in our research studies. So there's a lot of different opportunities for students to be engaged during their time. I do want to let you know as well that there's multiple different research to be done. And one of the examples that I want to share with you today is one that I actually did when I was an undergraduate. So one of the research studies that I participated in, I was working alongside one of my marketing professors, and I actually did dynamic and still imagery and how that affects consumer behavior. So if you look at a Nike advertisement, for example, and you see, someone, that model running versus standing still, are consumers more likely going to be drawn to that dynamic movement, or are they more likely going to be, drawn to that still image? So that is just one example. When I was in your shoes, when I was in high school, when I heard the term research, all I could think of was, labs, experiments, science, goggles. And it was really eye-opening to see that research can be conducted all across campus, across multiple different disciplines. Whether that's education, marketing, STEM fields, whatever it is, there's research to be conducted and for research for you to be involved. We have about 240 majors, minors, concentrations, and certification programs. Like I said, I want this to be as engaging as possible. So I definitely, I could talk to you, for 3 hours about this, but I definitely want to kind of tailor it and give you the information that you are seeking. So if you all don't mind, you can message in the chat, but if you feel comfortable, you can also unmute and kind of talk to me about what your academic interests are. Any volunteers? Like I said, you could put it in the chat if you don't feel comfortable unmuting, but I definitely want to, make sure that I'm providing you information about your, academic majors.
What majors are you guys considering?
I would like to be a music education major from the School of Music.
Okay. And then it looks like another one messaged in, business degree and elementary education, kindergarten, first grade. Perfect. So I will definitely touch on all of those. I appreciate you participating and letting me know, just because, like I said, I could talk to you for 3 hours about all of the different programs that we have. As you can see, 240, and I can give you all of the overviews of every single major, but I definitely will spare you the time and kind of spare you some of that dry content. So I'll definitely try and tailor it to what you are interested in. I do want to, kick things off by showing you the different schools and colleges at the University of Oregon. And the first one is the College of Arts and Sciences. So no one mentioned anything where you're going to be majoring in the College of Arts and Sciences. However, every student at the UO has to fulfill requirements in the College of Arts and Sciences. These are your general education classes. Since we are a liberal arts institution, you have requirements in the arts and letters, the social sciences, and the natural sciences. So when you are a student, whether you are business, whether you are music, whether you are elementary education, you have to take classes in those 3 areas to fulfill your core curriculum classes. So, I just wanted to let you know that that is a requirement. However, we don't have any classes in particular that you're required to take. You get to make it up however you want. If you want to stay clear of the biologies, the chemistries, anything of that sort, you have that opportunity. And maybe you want to take a geology class or a geography class. You can make up your core curriculum however you want, and make sure that you are taking classes that are just going to, help you and build skills that are going to help you in your ultimate major. I do want to kind of go through the different ones just to make sure that you are aware of them, but definitely focus more on the ones that you mentioned. So we do have the Charles H. Lundqvist College of Business. So I know someone mentioned a business degree. So if you are interested in the Lundqvist College of Business, you can go one of 2 routes. You can go through the business administration route, or you can go through the School of Accounting. If you go through the School of Accounting, you just accrue the credits to be eligible to, get your certified public or a certified public accountant, license, so be a CPA. If you go through the business administration route, you can concentrate in 5 different fields if you choose to do so: finance, entrepreneurship, marketing, operations and business analytics, or sports business. So if you are interested in, the business degree, you can choose to concentrate in 5 different fields if you want to. It is not a requirement. You can just do a general business degree if you'd like. One of the things that I really valued about my experience through the College of Business is how collaborative it is. When you are in the real world and you are working for a firm, agency, a company, anything of that sort, you'll never be working by yourself. You're always going to be working in a team, a group, whatever it is. You'll never have to fix or solve any issues by yourself. And so that's why we try to, kind of mimic that work environment. Most, if not all, classes across campus, across this, College of Business, program, you will have a group project that you are working on with local companies or even well-known companies. So no one said the College of Design, but this is where architecture, landscape architecture, interior architecture, product design, art and tech, that's kind of where all of those lie. Next is the College of Education, and I know somebody said elementary education. There's a few routes that students have the ability to participate in, whether that's communication disorders and sciences, family, human, and services, or whether that is educational foundations. And since you are, interested in elementary education, you might pursue the educational foundations major. We also have a minor in special education that is ranked in one of the top 5 programs for special education across the United States. So there's a lot of different opportunities for students to, pursue, whether they want to be an elementary, middle school, high school teacher, social worker, counselor, anything of that sort. And you can do that through the College of Ed. I do want to let you know, within the College of Education, you actually get a lot of hands-on experience before you even graduate. So during your 3rd and 4th years, you get a lot of hands-on experience. So each term, you're pretty much, partnered up with a local organization, a local school that you actually get, you get experience, and you graduate with 400, 500 hours of, work experience before you even graduate. School of Journalism and Communication is up next, and journalism, advertising, media studies, or public relations. This is all about storytelling. How are you going to tell this story, and which media outlet are you going to be telling it through? So there's a lot of extracurriculars that I want to mention, just because you can be any major and be a part of these. There's one called Duck TV, and this is where we do a lot of TV broadcasting, whether that's news anchoring, writing your own television shows, acting, directing. There's a lot of different opportunities within the School of Journalism and Communication that you can end up, being a part of. School of Music and Dance, and so this is a part of our institution, and this makes up about 400 students in total, and we're one of the fully comprehensive music and dance programs on the West Coast. So if you are interested in kind of that music education, that program, that is definitely an opportunity. If you are interested in that particular program, I do want to let you know that a lot of the majors within the School of Music and Dance are audition based. So you would have to make sure that you not only apply to the UO, you would have to apply to the music programs, and then there might be an audition attached to that. So I just want to make sure that you fulfill both of those requirements. Within our School of Music and Dance, like I said, you can do music education, you can do music performance, music composition, jazz studies, dance choreography, dance history, but it sounds like you might be more interested in that kind of music education program. You do a lot of kind of collaboration with the College of Education as well. So you might take classes within the College of Education to get that kind of foundation, but as well as taking some of those music classes. The next two are the School of Law and the Graduate School. So these are graduate programs. These are if once you receive your bachelor's degree, if you wanted to go and get your master's or PhD programs, these are where you get it. So School of Law or the Graduate School might not pertain to you right now. However, there is an opportunity to continue after your bachelor's degree if you want to do that. especially in the College of Education. My sister did this program, and a lot of other students go through this program. Is, in the state of Oregon, it might require you to, get a master's degree in order to teach. And so we do have a UO Teach program. So if you are interested in continuing, from your bachelor's into your, master's program, you can go straight into the UO Teach program. The last thing I do want to mention is the Robert T. Clark Honors College. And this is an opportunity that students have, and you can apply this to any major across campus. So the Honors College is where you take your liberal arts general education classes. Those classes are capped at 19 students. You'll never have a class larger than that in your general education requirements. And those are usually the classes where you do have bigger classes, ranging up to 100, 200, but your classes are capped at 19 students. It's more discussion based. You get a lot of face-to-face interactions with your professors. It is also a little more reading and writing intensive. However, a lot of the students find it to be, the right amount of challenging. They want to challenge themselves during their bachelor's degree, and the Honors College seems to fit that kind of mold. There are two other ways you can get honors at the U of O. The first one is your actual department might have its own honors program. So for an example, there's the business honors program. So if you are interested in the honors, business program, you have the opportunity to apply for that in particular. The last one is if you graduate in the top 2%, 5%, or 10%, you can actually graduate with Latin honors. So those are three different routes that you have when you deals with honor students. You can choose one, you can choose 2, 3, or you can choose none. There's no correct path for any student, but it's ultimately up to you how you want to kind of shape your undergraduate experience.
Ryan,
So I do all,
quick question.
Yeah.
Can you tell them a little bit about maybe the benefits of joining the Honors College? Is there like financial aid incentives? Are there any like job opportunities that arise from being part of that college? Can you just talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, definitely. The Honors College, I gave you a general overview, and obviously there's a lot more to that particular program. The tuition is definitely a little more when you are part of the Honors College because you are paying for all of the pros, I'm trying to think of that word, a lot of the benefits that come along with that particular program. So it is only a small cohort of our student population where, when you graduate, you are part of that small cohort, and you can say, I graduated from the Robert T. Clark Honors College at the U of O. And so there is, that prestigious, insignia on your application or on your diploma where it shows, I graduated from an honors program at the U of O. There, not only, is it going to give you more of more chances when it comes to master's programs, PhD programs, or jobs, I do want to let you know that the curriculum definitely changes its focus on not about what, but about why. So when you are learning these particular programs, it definitely, when you're choosing topics, when you're choosing these classes, it's more focusing on that why, aspect. So instead of learning, about these particular things, you learn about why these events happened, what led up to them, what is the ultimate goal of these particular programs or these particular wars or anything of that sort. So you get a different perspective than if you just went to another class that learned about what happened in history, not about kind of why that happened. So that's a different take that the Honors College tries to focus in. So it definitely gives you a new perspective, new viewpoints. It's more discussion based. Students find themselves to be more successful in smaller class sizes. And so instead of sitting in a lecture with, 100 other students, you are in that, that class of about 19 students. Ultimately, it is just, that prestige of graduating with graduating with honors. That's definitely going to, showcase to job perspectives, graduate perspectives, or PhD perspectives that, you graduated, you went through this challenging curriculum, you are challenging yourself. And that's really going to showcase not going to say that if you went general U of O that your value is not, as prestigious. It's just, having that insignia, it definitely showcases more to, those perspectives moving forward. My understanding would be, that is my understanding. The Honors College, there's a lot of benefits that come with it. I was never a part of the Honors College. If you are interested in it, I would definitely recommend, speaking with, you can schedule an appointment with an academic advisor through the CHC, or even you can meet with a student through the CHC and they can provide you a little more clarity on that. It's a little bit hard for me to describe just because I was never a part of it and I've only been told those experiences. And so my recommendation would be to potentially, reach out to that particular program. If you are interested in the Honors College, it's not a separate application. It's an add-on to the application. So if you are interested in it, it's just an additional essay. And I can talk to you about that application process moving forward. But from my understanding, that is kind of the benefits versus not. But any degree that you get at the UO is going to have some prestige to it. It's, you graduated from a tier 1 public research institution. We have a strong reputation amongst not the Association of American Universities, but across, the nationwide. So people know who we are. People know that we put out and we get our students career ready. So I definitely wanted to let you know, whether each route you go, you will definitely be career ready, but it's that prestige of graduating with that, honors college, degree is where it might add more to your resume, your application. Is that what you wanted, Lacey? I know it was a little kind of all over the place, but.
No, that's perfect. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I do want to let you know that we do have study abroad programs, and although the study abroad programs have been postponed kind of indefinitely, just, considering the world pandemic, we do offer study abroad programs, and we are still planning on continuing those, post-COVID. So we have more than 300 study abroad programs, 80 countries to choose from, and a quarter of our population actually studies abroad. So a lot of different programs that students can, go through. We are trying to give them a virtual experience, so like a virtual study abroad experience. Granted, it's not going to be the same if you were standing, in the street or in the plaza right there in Italy, but we're still trying to give students the best possible study abroad experience just through a virtual sense. So you might be thinking, what do Oregon Ducks do outside the classroom, outside of research, outside of, studying abroad? There's a lot of different opportunities for students to find their community, find their friends, find where they belong at the U of O. And those are through multiple different clubs and organizations. These can be identity, cultural-based organizations. These can be academic organizations, or these can just be general U of O clubs that any student can be a part of. So, some of those may include fraternity and sorority life. Those may include, the outdoor program. If you like to go hiking, kayaking, snowboarding, skiing, anything outdoors or anything, recreational, there are, student leaders who are running through the outdoor program, leading excursions that they take students on. Whether you want to be a part of our student government, ASUO, which is Associated Students with the University of Oregon, make changes within the U of O, make it so you make changes and you're only a student. This is, if you wanted to be a part of that, you run with like a multi-million-dollar budget, you add things, you make changes. And so if you wanted to be a part of that and you wanted to make changes at the UO for the better, you have that, capability. Some of the academic-based ones, so, for business, we do have some of the American Marketing Association, the Social Media Club, Beta Alpha Psi, which is an accounting fraternity. There's a lot of different, academic clubs and organizations that students can be a part of. If you are interested in music and dance at all, there's a lot of different opportunities to be a part of ensembles, which are other, organizations. Some of my favorite include a cappella groups, choir groups, athletic marching bands, choir, orchestra. One of my favorites, my favorite groups is Divisi. Divisi is an all-female a cappella group at the U of O. If you've seen the movie Pitch Perfect, Pitch Perfect is, based off of a cappella groups, competitions. And that movie was actually based off of a book, Pitch Perfect, and that featured a variety of a cappella groups all across the nation, and one of them was DeVisi. So you could say we have our own Bard and Bellas right at the U of O. And then the last thing I do want to talk to you about is our, identity and cultural based groups. So we do have a lot of identity and cultural based organizations that range from Native American Student Union, Black Student Union, Latinx communities, Pacific Islander Club. We have, LGBTQIA, Men's Center, Women's Center. We have a lot of different communities that students can share and, learn from those who, share those same identities, but also learn and share those experiences from those who, differ from you. So there's a lot of different opportunities for our students, but I just wanted to say you make up what your, experience at the U of O is like, and there's a lot of different opportunities. But the best way to, kick off your student experience is by living on campus. And it is a live-on requirement for all incoming students. However, since you are, relatively close to the city of Eugene, you are in a certain radius of, our campus. I do want to let you know that potentially you could be exempt from living on campus if you choose to do so. It might be more financially feasible for you to do that. However, if you want to live on campus, you're more than welcome to do that. 10 residence halls, 9 dining facilities, and you are the best person to know which environment you're going to thrive the most in. So if you want to thrive, living at home, driving to campus, etc., you can make that choice. If you rather live on campus, be closer to some of these resources, you want to live in a single bedroom with your own bathroom, you can. Maybe you want to live with one other roommate or 2 other roommates, you have that, possibility. So I just wanted to let you know that there are a few options for you to choose from. And if you do choose to live on campus, you're the best person to know, which environment you're going to thrive the most in. The last thing I kind of want to talk to you about is our career services. And I want to make sure, I know that I'm right at that time. I know 10 o'clock is the time that we were going to end, but career services. So we get students career ready. We connect students with 400 plus, companies, agencies, firms. We have career fairs once a fall, once spring to make sure that students are networking, find these job perspectives, find these graduate and PhD perspectives. So, moving forward, before you even graduate, if you have a job lined up. So we want to make sure students are career ready. We do workshops in, resume building, cover letter building. We do mock interviews. We want to make sure that students are looking to their future and being that career ready. Applying to the UO, I just want to, quickly go through this. I know that I am 1 minute over time. We are a holistic review, which means that we look at everything you submit to us. GPA, grade trend, academic courses, course rigor, senior schedule. We look at all of that. We want to take that into consideration when we make a decision. We also want to know what you're doing outside the classroom, activities, work, volunteering. So we want to know who you are as an academic, but we also want to know what takes up your time outside the class. ACT and SAT scores are optional, meaning that you do not need to submit one in order to gain admissions to the UO. You're more than welcome to submit it if you have taken it. However, it is not a requirement. Personal statement, 650 words, write about absolutely anything. This is for me to hear your voice as a student. I'll be the one reading your application, and this is actually my favorite just because it is a blank canvas, and this allows me to understand, this is the student. Using this platform to give me more information. Let me hear your voice. I do see a question, is SAT required for financial aid? No, so we definitely transitioned SAT and ACT score, so we are test blind when it comes to merit-based scholarships. So those are not required to gain any merit-based scholarships at the U of O. Just because with COVID, a lot of those testing centers have been postponed indefinitely, and you might not have the capability to do that by the time you receive your financial aid award offer. So it is not required for certain scholarships. These are deadlines. No matter if you are a freshman to a senior, these deadlines are pretty much set in stone. November 1st, early action. If you apply by then, you'll hear your decision by December 15th. Make sure you understand the difference between early action and early decision. Early action is non-binding, early decision is binding. Make sure you don't apply thinking that the exact same thing. Early decision is if you get accepted, you have to go to that school. We don't offer that, but I know some schools do offer it. Early action is you get to know your decision sooner rather than later. January 15th is regular deadline. Submit all of your documents and any supporting information by February 15th, and you'll hear a decision no later than April 1st. And scholarships, you're more than able to find out these different scholarships, financialaid.org and .edu. We actually made that announcement on October 1st. So you're able to go and check out all of the different scholarships that we're offering, what is needed to be awarded a particular scholarship. Our Summit scholarship went from a 3.8 to a 3.9 out of 4. You can see what the scholarship encompasses there. But I just wanted to give you an example that SAT and ACT scores are no longer required. We are test blind for scholarships. Oregon Guarantee provides each UO student a fixed tuition rate for up to 5 years. So your tuition rate will never increase during your time at the U of O for up to 5 years. And this is my email. I know I tried to rush the very last couple minutes. That is my email. Please reach out to me. Like I said, I'm the one who's going to be rating your application. I am your admissions counselor. So please reach out to me if you have any questions. More than happy to help. I don't know, Lacey, if we have any time for questions, but I definitely wanted to see if anybody had questions.
I actually was hoping you could maybe tell the students a little bit more about what is the most important facet of their admissions application. I get this question a lot, and it's hard to answer when everyone says they do a holistic review, but I do tend to tell students to spend a lot of time on personal statements and things like that. So if maybe you could talk a little bit more about the different sections of the application and what level of importance is associated with each one, that'd be great.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I mean, obviously the first part is making sure you're filling it out completely, honestly, and truthfully. That is the first thing. I would say everything is equivalent to each other. There's not one thing that we heavily focus in on. We look at your academic curriculum. I would rather see you challenging yourself and may not be, 100%, have a 4.0. You may have a 3.7, but I can see that you're challenging yourself. You're taking an AP class. You're taking, these challenging courses. I want to know your clubs and organizations. I want you to be as thorough as possible. I want you to list, I played, obviously not right now just because, sports and clubs are not kind of happening right now. But, prior to COVID, I want to see that you played, a sport. You learned teamwork. You learned, collaboration with others. You learned, you learned time management. Whatever it is, when you focus in on these particular clubs, organizations, your activities, I want you to be as thorough as possible. I want to know what you've learned, how you've grown as an individual, and how you potentially are going to use these skills moving forward in your, classes, in your jobs, whatever it is. This gives me a full understanding that you are thinking about these critically, and that gives me a better understanding of who you are. The last one is the essay, and this, like I said, it's a blank canvas that you can literally write about absolutely anything. 650 words. You can do a lot in that short amount of time. And I want you to be, as thorough. I want you to be, proofreading. I want others to be proofreading it. I don't want you to be using, essays that you've used for class. I want more information about who you are. I want to hear your voice as a student. So I wouldn't say one stands out more than others. I personally think my favorite is the essay because it's that blank canvas. But ultimately, it's up to you on how thorough you want to be. But everything is kind of equivalent. We look at everything. We're not just picking out a few things. We look at everything when we make that decision.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Did any of you guys have specific questions for Ryan about the application process or anything else about financial aid, about your major, anything at all?
I had a real quick question about how to get into the Clark's Honors College. You might have already said it, but what are the requirements to get in?
Yeah, so it is not a separate application. It's an add-on to the UO application. When you fill out either the Common App, the Coalition, or the Oregon app, those are our 3 apps that we accept, it'll ask you, are you interested in the Honors College? If you are, you would check yes, and there are some supplemental information that you do have to provide, including a separate application or a separate essay, excuse me. So you do have to submit an extra essay. There are prompts that are associated with this particular essay. So it's not open-ended like our general admissions one, but with this, you would submit that. And when we review your application, we review you first if your UO admissions. Then we go back and do another holistic review for your honors college review. There's not too many other requirements or too many other steps. It's just that add-on essay that's pretty much the main difference. And it's the same kind of deadline process. Is you can apply to it early action, but the latest you can apply is January 15th for honors college and the UO.
Do you have to have a GPA minimum?
Nope. Like I said, it's a holistic review. The honors college is, they're a little bit more, strict on who they admit to their program, just because it is an honors program. We can't have all of the 23,000 students on our campus be a part of the honors college. So it is only a small liberal arts institution. I believe there's roughly around 1,000 students in that particular program. So it's only a small percentage of our students. So it's a little more, they're a little bit more choosier who they pick. But it doesn't mean that if you have a 3.4 compared to someone who's a 4.0, we look at everybody holistically. That person who has a 4.0 may not be involved in a lot of things, but this person who has a 3.4 may be involved in a lot of things. So we look at everything holistically. I do want to make sure I mention one other scholarship that I make sure that everyone knows about, and it's Pathway Oregon. Pathway Oregon is a saving grace. Just because I received it when I was a student, it pays for your tuition for 4 years. So you have to meet, pretty much certain requirements. You never had to submit an SAT or ACT score prior to this, so you don't have to worry about that at all. You have to meet a 3.4 out of a 4.0 GPA. You have to, be Pell Grant eligible, and that's based off of your free application for federal student aid. You have to graduate from an Oregon high school. And if you pretty much meet those requirements, it's pretty much given to you. It's your tuition and fees are paid for 4 years. So make sure you look at that. If you are unfamiliar with Pell Grant and FAFSA, this is need-based. So it's based off of your household income, your family income, who you're dependent on, all of that kind of stuff. So there is that supplemental information that you have to provide. But if you end up meeting all of those requirements, you pretty much have your tuition and fees paid for 4 years. It is, like I said, it is a saving grace. It makes students, it makes higher education possible and accessible for a lot of students who may not thought that, it was possible for them.
Can I just add about Oregon, about the Pathway Oregon program?
Yeah.
So just so you guys all know, we're going to work on FAFSA together in senior seminar class when we meet with you guys. That's the free application for federal student aid that Ryan mentioned. And so it's both need-based and merit-based. So if you have a 3.4 GPA and you meet income requirements, you would be eligible for Pathway Oregon. But since you also live within 30 miles of the University of Oregon, and if you choose not to live on campus, you could look at a virtually free college education at U of O if you qualify for Pathway Oregon and choose to live at home. So it's definitely something to consider.
Yeah, just from my personal experience, and I don't care talking about finances. I don't have any debt. So if you really think about that, I am debt free, and I know that my sister who didn't receive Pathway Oregon, and she went to a school down in Southern Oregon first and then transitioned to Oregon, you wouldn't be able to, she wasn't eligible for Pathway because you have to be an incoming student, not a transfer student. She is still paying off her loans. I didn't have many loans because Pathway Oregon, like I said, pays for your tuition for 4 years. And what Lacey said, if you live at home, you're pretty much virtually, you're pretty much getting a free education, which is a huge opportunity. We have a lot of donors that donate to this particular program because they want to make a difference. They want to make sure that students are getting, an education. Any other questions?
if you guys think of anything later, you can definitely email me or Ryan as well.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't be a stranger. I don't want to be a stranger. You've seen my face. You know who I am. Literally just right around the corner. Literally email me. I can provide you also my phone number. The slide didn't have it, but this is my phone number. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to just pick up the phone and get a hold of me rather than sending me an email. Like I said, reach out to me. More than happy to talk to you about anything U of O related, but my first and foremost responsibility is making sure that you are knowledgeable about higher education and college. I can, take my name tag off. I can cover up the O, and I can just, be completely honest about, college experience. Yeah, you're welcome, Enzo. Thank you so much for joining. Thanks, Bethany. Thanks, Kaden. Thanks, Lacey, for allowing me to, talk about the U of O. I know it is a little bit earlier on in the morning, but I do appreciate, you all being so respectful and engaging. Please reach out to me if you have any other questions. I will stay on until the very last one of you, pops off. But if you need to schedule, a one-on-one appointment with me, talk about certain things, you're more than welcome to do that. Maybe you don't feel comfortable speaking in front of a big group, but please reach out to me. More than happy to help.
Thank you so much, Ryan. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I hope you all are staying safe and staying healthy. It is a unpredictable world out there, and I just, want to make sure that you all are taking care of yourself first and foremost. And please stay safe and stay healthy.